What's up, dudes and dudes to the internet? My name's Seth, and today we're going to be taking a look at Myrne the Quest. This game ended up just recently coming out on Steam, and I was really hyped about it because I actually really enjoyed the first game. The first game was a top-down kind of Realm of the Mad God, but single-player style Realm of the Mad God, where you could end up choosing an archer character, a melee character, or a mage, and kind of go through the adventure with all these quirky characters and really fun story, where even at the beginning, it's like your character was married to a rabbit, and it's just really ridiculously over the top, as opposed to this one, which is a first-person adventure. So it's really cool in that it's the same type of experience and the same type of game, but evolved to actually being like a full-on 3D game. Now, I'm gonna give you a heads up here, folks, and just say that I'm gonna brighten up the video as much as I can in editing, because this game is dark. Like, this is what it looks like without editing.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, I know, right? So if you can end up getting past that, it's very beautiful. Look at this. Lovescraft. Some love story with horror elements. That's actually a nice pun towards the Cthulhu mythos and stuff like that. Funny business. Fulfill your dream of becoming manager of a circus. I think that's supposed to be like, yeah, it's making fun of a movie or something. So you can wander around the world, you can grab all sorts of things that you find out in the world. Hello, you don't even look like a person. Hey, I've got news about the eye. The eye was something that was actually a big predominant thing in the first game. And that's another thing too I want to say is the reason that the game is so dark is because in roleplay, the world is cast under darkness, right? It's just a little disappointing to myself personally. That's one thing that I don't really like is darkness. Like, you know, maybe it's just because I've been doing YouTube for a long enough time. I just prefer to have a bright, vibrant world, especially when the graphics in this game are so appealing. You know, it's like, it kind of looks like Minecraft, but at the same time manages to be like a more 3D-ish style. So I think this area, if I recall, it's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure this area was actually the last area you ended up visiting at the end of the first game, but I'm not entirely sure on that. It was like, that game was probably years ago, in fact, when I ended up playing it. I did one quick video on it, and then I ended up just kind of playing it off camera myself, and really enjoyed it. So I'm kind of skipping through all the dialogue. You can always pause it and check it out if you want, because what I want to try and do is get to the action as soon as possible so that I can kind of show you the dungeon crawling, which is really cool. And kind of the world when we end up actually getting to it, and that sense of progression and stuff, right? What? Where did I go? Where did I go wrong? Am I supposed to leave yet? I believe the Gravedigger has you should talk to him. Oh, I'm not supposed to be skeptical. That's what's actually happening. But yeah, you'll notice that it does take, oh, I need to go to sleep. Never mind. Go to sleep. Yep. Okay, go to sleep. You'll never come back to this location. That's okay. There's only a few items in there. It's not really anything that important. And now the world's even darker, but that's gonna be okay as far as the video editing. Piercing weapons for dummies. So they're gonna actually kind of explain a little bit of the game mechanics in some of these books, where it's talking about piercing weapons like daggers or spears usually deal low damage, but are going to end up compensating by inflicting a lot of critical hits, as opposed to swords, which are kind of at the middle ground, and then blunt weapons, which are gonna be all the way at the end, where they rarely get a crit, but they're gonna have like an overall higher top to their damage. So each of the weapons ends up having their own different, you know, perks to them, whichever you want to actually use, while blunt weapons actually work better against undead creatures and stuff like that. So it kind of pays to learn all that stuff. Dark ghouls instead of Dark Souls, right? It's hard to read. Get it? It's a pun on the Dark Souls games because of how difficult that they are. Give me that tunic! Give me that shirt! So as we end up opening our inventory, you're gonna notice our character right here. In most cases, you're not going to be able to even see what your character looks like because it's so dark in this game, seriously. I'm not trying to, like, hate on the darkness or anything like that. I just do wish that it was a little bit brighter, you know? Okay, so where's the key? Well, we'll grab this, even though we don't have to. It's the same as how we could actually grab all of these books and stuff, but we don't have to. Unlock the door, there we go, unlock the door. Why did our key, oh, it just broke straight out. So this is gonna be the Gravedigger's room. You can end up getting into there a little bit later if you end up getting a lockpick and going towards that. You can also see that there's a bunch of different skill tree, well, skills you can get. I guess not skill trees necessarily, but there's gonna be repairing and dodging, heavy armor, light armor, shield handling, unarmed combat. which is just punching and stuff like that. And all of these stats are going to end up kind of progressing over time as you use them. So for a cutting weapon, we have to pretty much deal 25 different individual hits in order to level this up. And where these stats come into play, like your base stats, which end up leveling up with, like, every time you end up gaining a level, which is from grinding these right here, you're going to end up being able to choose a normal, like, vitality or strength and stuff like that. And you can see, set the max weight you can equip and the max level some skills can reach. So some of your skills are going to be limited to how powerful they can end up getting unless you end up having the proper stats to adequate for that. So we're gonna head on over to here, this dancing, rocking out rocket brother, the innkeeper right here. So a guy asked to see where you were. He was a weird guy. Well, that was 5 to 6 hours ago. I tried to wake you up, but still in your sleep. You threatened to kill me if I did. Anyway, he's gone now, but he left a message for you. Huh? He told me he'd be waiting for you at Hasseltown. Then he left without signing the guest book. Hasseltown, is it far from here? No, it's not that far at all. You just have to follow the path outside, turn right, and then keep following the path. Great, it's really not far. Then you have to enter the mine, and there should be a passage leading directly to the town. It's quite isolated. Passing through a mine? Yes, especially since it's abandoned. Some people even say it's haunted. Oh, so in fact, the town is really far away. No, it's not that far at all. You just have to follow the path outside, turn right, and then keep going down the path. Yeah, I'm leaving. Hey, first you have to pay. I paid when I arrived, not for the room, for the message. You have to pay for the message. I'm the innkeeper, not postman, and your pal didn't sign the book, so I will not pay. Goodbye. Or you could have paid him. But if you don't pay him, I was just kidding. All right, I'll let you go. Your room is still available and paid if you need it. Nice, goodbye. So I want to also point out while we're here, this right here, you can barely, I can barely see it, is a trap door that we are going to end up actually using a little bit later. So we're gonna take this wooden bucket, throw that on our head to get ourselves a little bit prepared here. Not really though. And then we're gonna end up selecting this mop or broom so that we can end up fighting things. We could end up talking to a couple of their side characters and stuff, and the game does have a collectible kind of cards that you can collect throughout your adventures. This character eventually is going to end up moving on once we end up going a little bit further. If we go over here, you're gonna see that a tree has fallen over, and that character has some very funny dialogue talking about how lazy they are and how they're on break and they don't want to end up doing anything. But again, look at the nighttime, man. You gotta get used to it. I personally would love to see this exact same game just bright and vibrant, you know, because the game's already very vibrant considering what it is. You know, I'm gonna touch it all up in editing, but anyways, we go over to the well. It says you won't be able to come back with a rope, but that's okay because there's already a rope right here as far as I know, right? Oh, maybe it's because I had a rope when I jumped in the first time. Oh, well, that's okay. We can go ahead and just... So, yeah, search around and try to find a rope before you end up coming down here, cause ripperoni! And then you could grab all the mushrooms and stuff around the environment to end up healing up and giving yourself some more health items. Ow! Stop it! You stupid freak. Okay, and this guy's a skeleton, so we should actually be doing just fine because we're using blunt damage. Get wrecked, and then give me all of your stuff. Watch out for all the error characters as well. Wait a minute, do I have my field of view up? Yeah, my field of view is maxed out. Yikes. I wish it was a little bit more zoomed out, or maybe these things could be on the side of us or something. You can also see here while we're hovering over the gear, 0 to compared to 1, because the gear that we're rocking actually has 2. So this one is going to end up being less. So it kind of has like a red indicator for that, as opposed to other abilities which are going to, or other items I should say, which are going to end up showing like the comparison is right then and there. This one is going to end up giving us 1 defense, while the other one that we're already equipped to is having 2. And you can also see this little green bar beside the bow right there. That's actually the durability of the weapon. So that is going to end up slowly going down as you end up fighting enemies and stuff like that. And then you can end up repairing it though, so you don't gotta worry too much about like just losing some of the best gear in the game, like permanently or anything. Save points are going to be in the form of beds, so keep your eyes peeled. And then as far as getting through this dungeon, we're gonna have to do this, sneak up here, grab this clock. I'm just right-clicking to actually like carry this thing around because we're going to have to actually collect 3 different clocks. That one already shows us, to open this pathway right here, and it can end up being a little bit tricky. The game also has some nice interactable things, like right here, I don't know if that's what it was trying to show us, but if we drop the raw meat on the fire pit, now it is cooked meat, and is going to heal us a whole lot more, so... It's really cool that the game actually has like nice little mechanics like that, which is one of the reasons why I like the original, right? Each of the weapons too, like this dagger, actually does have less reach. That's what the length and width stat is right there, where this is plus 40 centimeters and this is going to be 70 centimeters, so you don't really have to get as close with the dagger or compared to the other weapon, but you can see we're actually attacking a lot more often, and again, because we're using a little dagger with piercing weapon, with piercing stat, it means that we're going to end up potentially like attacking with more crits, right? So this is one of the most difficult parts in the game, because if you end up missing that, I honestly don't know where you get any more arrows. I guess you're supposed to get it from some of the other characters. Free! Thank you, thank you. So as you end up talking to this character, I'll show you in a minute, he is going to end up showing up at that underground doorway that we saw back at the inn. That's where he is hanging out right now. You end up going back there, and he's going to end up being the character that kind of teaches you about the scrapping mechanic. So you can actually scrap most pieces of gear and equipment in the game for like materials. So this is going to give us 1 scrap. This is going to give us 1 scrap as well, right? And then you can end up using that to barter with this character to end up buying like different things like arrows, or maybe you want to buy like a repair kit and stuff like that, right? Give me those lockpicks. I'll show you the lockpick mechanics in a little bit here, but I want to kind of go through this. We're only missing 1 of the clocks, which is going to be very difficult because of the area that we are going to go next. So I'm going to try and get some healing going on. You can see in the bottom left the amount of time that we actually have for health regeneration. So you gotta kind of watch that, and our screen is freaking out right now because of the mushroom that I ate. Get out of here, you stupid level 5 idiot. You see how those guys are actually dodging? Oh no, there's a rat too! I didn't plan on that one! Well, I'm gonna focus down the skeleton. Okay, we're dead. Well, rip me. That's okay. Perfect opportunity for me to show you that death does not have any consequences other than travel time. Generally, I'm pretty sure... Oh, the rope's there now randomly, whatever. I think that the only consequence you actually end up dealing with is just respawning at a location where you last slept. So otherwise, you're going to end up keeping all your stats and everything like that, all the equipment and items that you end up finding in the adventure. I'm pretty sure that's intentional, because as far as I know, it was like that in the other game as well. And as you saw right there, the enemy ended up keeping their health. So maybe when you get to the last boss, I'm sure that character would end up rebounding their health as soon as you end up dying or something like that. But I do think that that is definitely a very cool mechanic that you don't really have to worry about, like, it being like too overly complicated or overly difficult. Like, it's like every situation you can just kind of force your way through, right? Let me grab this mage's fireball staff just so I can show you exactly what the magic is going to end up looking like in this game, because again, as you saw when we were in the middle of combat, some of our stats ended up actually leveling up because of the fact that we ended up, you know, using those abilities. So magic is going to be something a little bit different, where in the bottom left you can see our mana meter, and most of the ranged attacks in this game, honestly speaking, I would recommend, while you're going to end up getting a lot stronger with your melee attacks and your defense later on, ranged attacks generally just seem to be really, really good in these games. Like, even in the first Myrne game, it was actually really, really overpowered just because of, like, here's a prime example. The skeleton, we're just gonna slowly, okay, I don't have, okay, I'm out of ammo. Well, I was going to keep him at bay, and that's kind of the whole thing, is you get to keep that range between the other characters, right? So we're not gonna have enough time to go through this full dungeon today here, folks, but I do want to kind of just show you, okay, this skeleton is more skilled than me. Unarmed combat is leveling up, so is our dodging, which I'm pretty sure is just a chance to dodge. I don't think that we actually end up tapping a button to dodge or anything. Yikes, that was a close one. So again, one of the other things too is because of the whole scrapping inventory mechanic is going on. It also makes things a little bit of a complaint that I would say is because of the fact that things can also turn into scraps. I feel that in a lot of ways, it's a lazy way of not having to have a better inventory system. Because the inventory system, you're gonna get a cluttered inventory right away. And you're gonna have to take all of that stuff all the way back in your rucksack to the spot where you end up looting and turning it all into scraps and stuff like that, only to end up going all the way back in. Now, one thing that I do love about the design about this game, and the developer ended up doing something similar in the first game as well, is stuff like this, where we actually are going to activate this, and that blasted the doorway open, and now that is a permanent shortcut that we can take from the well to get down into here and go into here. And that's why, even though, you know, I'm complaining about the inventory space thing, it's not really that much of a problem, just because of the fact that you can get almost everywhere in the game really, really easily. You know, all of the areas end up connecting in some way or another. And even this tree over here, I haven't gotten far enough, but I'm pretty confident that eventually this tree would just end up being destroyed and gotten out of the way, so that we could actually just take a shortcut from Hasseltown straight back to the end. So last but not least, let's go back into the end. I'm going to show you the scrapping mechanic and how that ends up actually working. We just go down into here. Here he is hanging out, and while we can talk to him about repairing hammers and stuff like that, and the way that repairing in itself is going to work is you're going to actually unequip your gear, throw it onto the ground, and you're going to smack it with a repair hammer, and the repair hammer is going to have a certain amount of durability that's going to end up getting drained. That's why you can actually get higher grades of gear from him. But then also just the fact that you're going to get arrows. Here's one of the wooden hammers right there. Sewing kits are for leather armor and lighter armors, while the hammers are actually for metal and higher armors and stuff like that, right? So this right over here is going to be the bare bones essential for all of the scrapping, because what you're going to do is open up your inventory while you're looking at it, press the button to throw it right onto it, and there you go. We're just getting scraps inside our inventory, which we can then end up trading for other items. One thing that I do also find a little bit annoying, it's just my personal taste, by the way, it's not like necessarily a critique on the game or anything like that, is that we have to actually wait for everything to scrap one at a time. You can't just spam it and go crazy, because if I try to spam all of these all at once, you're gonna see that they're just thrown all over the place. And you know, while the game kind of tries to keep up with all of them, for the most part, yeah, you're just gonna have to kind of wait and do it all like one at a time over and over. Another thing too you can see as we're hovering over this is our agility and magic actually go down by 2, so that's another thing to keep in mind with some of the gear. Of course, very similar to the first game, I'm assuming that when we would end up getting to some of the later gear, it would actually be like, maybe it ends up lowering your magic, but at the cost of actually having more strength and physical damage to it, right? So you kind of gotta balance all of that out for yourself. And anyways, that's Myrne the Quest, everybody. I think it's an absolutely awesome game. While I would like to do more videos on it, unfortunately it's too dark for yours truly to end up actually doing a full series on it. I'm slowly playing through it on my own time though, and if I think it's cool enough, of course I'll end up coming back to it, but links are gonna be in the description so you can check everything out about this game. I do recommend it, but do keep in mind that the actual game looks like this, so just keep that in mind. Otherwise, I would very much appreciate if you would like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. Sign away and stay epic, everybody.